Greetings, Heathens and Naredowells. I'm Don, the philosophical Satanist, and today I'm going to weigh in on a subject that has been flying around all the various magic and demonology groups, and that is magic circles. Now, the magic circle is the mainstay. It's one of the it's almost an institution inside of the practice of magic. Very important in witchcraft and those sorts of practices, but also very popular and considered by many to be essential to the practice of demonology or demonolatry. But, but, I'm here, as I normally do, to present a slightly different view on the magic circle. Now, the big question that's been coming at the moment is a magic circle necessary? And that's a really good question, because if you a magic circle can be constructed many ways. I mean, you can sprinkle a perfect circle of salt around an area. You can summon one if you know how. You can create one using just your finger. You can carve one with an athame or a sword, or in the Goetia, it's a 76 first facsimile printing. Or as you can see, you can get really complex. Like, that's a big map. That in itself, the triangle is 2 square foot just in and of itself. So you can create. You've got all the Hebrew letters around the side. I bought this one color coded, so that was pretty cool. But you can create really intricate types of circles, and a lot of people, especially beginners, they don't know how to go about doing it, and they don't, it's a fair investment to create something like that. Now, I'm going to say, and you can disagree if you like, I'd love to have a discussion with you on the subject, but I'm going to say that magic circles are not essential when dealing with demons, right? Because mindset, confidence, and respect are 1,000 times more important than a magic circle. So, you see, to my mind, and to one of the people I take my magic cues from, a magic circle is more about creating a sort of intellectual decompression chamber. So, and that's a relatively Wiccan thing as well. They won't call it that, but the concept remains the same. You cast a magic circle to separate your space and what you're doing with the mundane, with the outside world. It's creating an area where the practice of magic can actually occur. Right? Now, that's your traditional magic circle. It's creating a space separated from consensus reality where the universe can be bent towards your will. Now, inside of a lot of ceremonial magic, especially things dealing with necromancy, demonology, and so on and so forth, the magic circle means more. See, your magic circle is your protection from these infernal and often harmful creatures that you are studying. But that only works along the paradigm that what you're studying and summoning are actually negative beings. Now, I've got enough videos out there on mindset and the way that you approach and think about an entity will really dictate the way that your interactions go. So I'm not going to go over that too much. But all of these protections and all of these things, now, I think of them as like a locked door in your house. A locked door will stop someone rattling, will stop someone, sort of just entering whenever they feel like. But a locked door is not going to stop a determined intruder. And I believe that's true of a magic circle as well. Maybe your confidence is such in the circle that, your faith makes it true that nothing can get in there. But what happens when you're not in the circle? Send this thing away. Well, it now knows who you are and where you are, and you can't live inside a magic circle. Think about that one. But that's not to scare you, because the simple fact of the matter is what you're summoning shouldn't be wishing you harm anyway. Things like the Key of Solomon, right? The Goetia that was Aleister Crowley's work based upon the Key of Solomon. Abramelin the Mage, Honorius the Great. Take your take your pick of these old school grimoires that are sort of the foundation and the gold standard, and think about the slant, think about the skew, think about where they came from. And that's right, they came from Christian guilt, from the bastardization of old gods and old friends into something negative. The people writing these, the people doing these works, believed that they were negative, so all of these protections were needed. You needed to torture and harm spirits, to compel and threaten them. Now, it's 2022, and it seems that we've evolved in the, 16th century? We've evolved in more than 400 years of study. I'd like to think we've evolved, and we understand things a lot better nowadays, or at least some of us do. And to my mind, these things are not negative nor evil unless you perceive them as such, unless you treat with them as such, and a lot like a person. If you treat a person like an enemy, they'll become your enemy. If you kidnap and hold hostage and hurt someone to do what you want, they will seek revenge, right? At the very least, they'll seek to escape. And it's just the same with demons, it's just the same with all spiritual entities. So, really, my mind says that if you're contacting something that you think is evil and you think is dangerous, that actually says more about you than it does the demon. Because why would you contact something that could harm you? Regardless, there's so many other things out there that can provide the same sorts of results and are safe to do so. So why would you contact something? Are you that unhinged? Or are you suffering from what Anton LaVey called the lure of the forbidden? Right? The fact that they are evil, that they are taboo. Is that what attracts you? And that's something you need to figure out within yourself, because demons are not your enemy. Demons are not negative. They're only negative if you perceive them to be. So, when dealing with demons, a magic circle is not necessary. I actually don't use a magic circle of any description. If I've cast a circle, it is purely along the original lines of what I spoke about at the beginning of the video, as separating the space I'm working in from mundane reality, creating that intellectual decompression area. And I've dealt with demons that have the terrible reputation of possession and destroying their host, and I've encountered no problems whatsoever. I'm just as unhinged as I've ever been. So, I haven't really seen any main difference in my life aside from the benefits that they've brought into it. So this is another. So, don't be afraid of them. Confidence and a correct mindset are way more important than a protective circle, because you shouldn't be contacting anything that frightens you. That's just going to mess with your energy. That's just going to give you trepidation. This is why people post up picture, video, like messages on groups saying, "Oh, I contacted this and blah 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 blah, and now I feel like I'm being haunted. My sleep is disturbed, and I'm hearing voices and all of that sort of thing." Well, I'm going to put it that you didn't actually contact what you were aiming for because your energy was the way it was as you worked. You've contacted something else, and I don't deny there are negative entities out there. Right? There are negative entities out there, and if you're approaching things from a negative energy, you're going to attract a negative entity. And a negative entity won't mind saying that it's what you're contacting. It won't mind. It'll lie to you. It'll do anything it can to get inside your head, to get inside your life, to actually, get onto, because this is what it's all about. We're on the material plane. We're real. We exist, and they don't on the material plane. And it's all about influencing the material plane from the immaterial plane. If anything, these things envy our ability to actually exist inside of a reality that makes sense. So I'm going to say, if you've contacted a demon and it's bringing negative into your life, then that's probably because you approached it from a negative perspective. Now, that's not a massive problem. I might very soon make a video on what to do if you've attracted a negative energy, because it happens. It's happened to me, and it's not pleasant when it does, and it can be quite difficult to get rid of as far as that's concerned. So yeah, maybe the next video will be that. But back to magic circles. They are unnecessary from a protection point of view. They're very useful in creating a separation between reality and your magic working, but you shouldn't need to be protecting yourself from the things that you summon. And if you feel you need protection from them, then my advice is don't summon them. Don't contact these things. They're not safe. You wouldn't go cover yourself in petrol and set it on flame just to see what happened. Right? You wouldn't go walking down the street of a bad neighborhood wearing gold chains and bling, asking to get mugged and rolled. Right? You wouldn't go picking a fight with someone with a knife. You might, but that's a very stupid thing to do, because my experience with knife fighting is, basically you face a knife, you will get stabbed. And it's just the same with contacting the spirit realm, and contacting the spirit realm with the wrong mindset. So, until next we speak, this is Don the Philosophical Satanist saying stay safe, hail thyself, examine your mindset, and have a beautiful day.